Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Techgig Webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is Unraveling Machine and Social Data Analytics on the IBM Big Data Platform. Our guest speaker today is Mr. Shrinivas Kulkarni, Senior Architect, IBM Big Data Platform and Solutions at IBM India Software Labs. Kulkarni has been working with IBM for over 12 years with various roles and experiences in product architecture and development, solutioning, enterprise integration, customer enablement and technical evangelism. In the recent past, he has worked extensively on many Smarter Planet initiatives like Smarter Supply Chain, Smarter Food, Smarter Healthcare, and the Internet of Things. He is a prolific inventor with multiple patents and publications in his portfolio. One of his focus areas for this year is to enable Indian academia and the technical community to get started with the big data analytics. So without further delay, I introduce you all to a guest speaker. Over to you, Mr. Kulkarni.
Thank you. Thank you, Moini. Okay. Yeah, I hope you are able to see the screen with the title. So,
yes, we can.
What we'll talk about today is basically I wanted to talk more on. We had a similar webinar 6 months back where I talked about what big data is and big data platform should have the capabilities and so on. And today I wanted to specifically focus on two types of analytics that we are seeing a lot of traction around in the big data world. Right? So one is the machine data analytics, the other one is the social data analytics. Session, I will be covering a bit about what we mean when we say big data, what are the challenges available there, and the opportunities that make it. And what type of platform capabilities that are needed. And then I will get to specifics about what are the challenges and solutions available in the machine data and social data analytics. Okay. Yeah. So I'm on a slide named Data is the New Oil. Right? This may sound a little intriguing, but the reality is, in today's world, right, data is becoming so important. It's treated equal, or if not more, to the oil. Just like oil or any other natural resources, data is yet another natural resource. There is immense potential in realizing some business value of the data, but hardly many people are actually using it. Right? If at all they're using it for maybe one particular purpose. Now, one of the reasons is just like natural resources, data comes in a variety of forms and in abundance, extreme abundance, and it is very, very undefined. So in order to make any insight out of that, one has to do a lot of analysis, give it some structure that one can understand, and the structure and the analysis varies from use case to use case. Right? But needless to say that this is where we are seeing a lot of organizations putting their effort. They're starting to figure out how we can leverage about the data. The data could be the internal data, could be in the form of the call center data they're getting, the emails they're getting, the various blogs they have, various intranet data, or the CRM databases, or the structured things like CRM databases, or the master data, and so on, and the sales, transactional, all this data, right? And the data that is external, maybe social media, maybe data that is getting generated in the news media, and so on, right? To figure out what I can make out of that. Now, one question that I generally get asked is, really, how do you define what is big data, or rather, how big is big, right? And there has been a notion that big data is Hadoop. For those of you who know what Hadoop is. The answer is yes and no. Yes, Hadoop is part of the big data that we're talking about, but that is not the only thing. So generally, there are a few characteristics that we are seeing when it comes to any big data use case. One is the volume part of it. There is immense amount of data that I want to analyze, and my traditional systems are not the right approach to go about them. Right? So we are talking about from terabyte to hundreds of terabytes to petabytes to just we are expecting in the zettabyte range very soon. And then, as I mentioned earlier, there is a variety of data formats. The data coming from various machines like RFID sensors, your own application logs, network routers, and then various devices and so on, and in different formats. Right? So we need, how do we handle all these things and make any sense? And because there are so many devices and so many sources, the data that is hitting us is at an enormous pace. We are seeing in some cases things like 5 million data points per second, and yet people are looking for, can I get as real time as possible to act on it? So velocity is not just the way the data is coming at you, it's also how quickly can I action on the data that is coming in. Right? So, and the velocity and volume are kind of linked, because the more the data hits you at a high rate, and the more you want to store, the volume grows. So, for a couple of years, we've been talking about the velocity, volume, variety, and all those, they're known as the 3 V's. And there has been a notion that because there is so much of volume, statistically, it will even out even if the data quality is not so good. But that is not really the case. Right? In fact, because the data is coming from so many sources, so many variety of forms, how do you really trust? And figure out how much of the data is relevant for the analysis that I'm doing right now for this particular use case. Right? So that's when the veracity part of the other dimension of the data characteristic is really there is a lot of uncertainty of that. How do I predict what is inherently imprecise data and figure out the reliability of it? Okay. So these are some of the characters. Now, of course, there are multiple these people are talking about, like more data you add, the more analysis you do, the more insights you get, and then it attracts even more data. Someone call it voracity. And I'm seeing something like 15 V's in